Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing the third part of our gameplay for the game Tankschlacht, Cambrai 1917. This is from Revolution Games and designer Carrie Anderson. And this is Great War Battles Volume 2. And it's following up Death of an Army, which covered the first Battle of Ypres in 1914. This one obviously is a little bit later in the war. It is late November 1917. First two parts covered parts of, well, basically the British turn one, which was actually on November 20th, 1917. And that was when they unleashed their tanks to create a breakthrough in the middle. Well, looking at the map here, you can see the bulge they created right here in the middle of the map. And now we're going to move to November 30th and look at the German counterattack, because the Germans used Stoßtruppen here in this part of the battle. They did some infiltration. That was their thing. They are concentrated right in here. And their counters, as you can see, now they don't carry a lot of their companies, so they're not large. They don't carry a lot of firepower. Their combat factor there is a 1. And their stacking value, that's the number in the middle, also a 1. And their movement is an 8. But you can see they're a different color from your regular German troops. And they basically are here to infiltrate into the British lines, get in the rear area, and do some damage. And that is what we are going to look at. We're going to look at the coordinated combat phase, and we'll see how far we get. But we're going to do the coordinated combat phase of the German counterattack in the early morning of November 30th, 1917, here around Cambrai. You can see the Germans have a fairly contiguous line running from south, which is this side, to north, up in here. The north is actually kind of due this way. And they're going to try to make some hay, get a little bit of some of the ground back that they lost there. The British do have a few tanks left. I think they have 4. There's 2 up here and 2 right here. But this part of the battle is all about the German counterattack and how the British can weather that storm. Now, just like in turn 1, if you watched part 1, you saw this. You get hurricane bombardment to start it off. So the Germans are going to unleash some overpowered artillery, which is on the board right here, German off-board artillery. So these are big guns behind the lines that are going to lay down big bombardments here, just as the British did in part 1 of this series, if you wanted to go back and look at that. Speaking of part 1 and part 2, I made some mistakes. The designer, Carrie Anderson, was kind enough to jump on and make some comments to let me know what I had screwed up. So as we go through, I will mention things that I missed. You can also go and review the comment section of part 1 and part 2 to see his comments directly, so that if you watch those videos afterwards, you'll know what I messed up ahead of time. But I appreciate the feedback. And, my goal is always to play the game correctly, but I am prone to making mistakes. So hopefully this one will go much better now that I've had that feedback. And we're going to pick it up by doing our artillery. So you start with bombardment, and that's what we're going to do first. Okay, so our sequence of play indicates that the first thing you should do is conduct drum fire, counter battery, and anti-tank fire. And so you have to figure out your targets for what you're going to be attacking to do this correctly. Now, I'm going to start over here where our Stoßtruppen are. And so what we're mainly looking at is probably going through these guys and blowing a hole open in here that we can then go through, right? To try and get in there and make some hay, basically. So this area is part of Gruppe Busigny, which is right here. And this is the HQ for it. That is the 23rd Reserve Corps, I guess. Yes, 23rd Reserve Corps, Gruppe Busigny. Right, so they are, this is where you trace your line of sight if you're using the core artillery. And the core artillery has a range of 12. And this is what it looks like. So this would be 1, and I showed this before. So very simple. It's just got a 4 firepower. Now, typically, well, I'll talk about interdiction in a moment. So there's a rule about if you go from one unit's zone of control to another. Like, let's say we were going to go, it may not even be necessary right here, the way the British are set up. But in general, if you wanted to do infiltration with one of your Stoßtruppen, right, you would go, let's say 1, 2, and now you're in the zone of control of both this unit and this unit. So what you can do, that would require both of these units to be attacked. But you can use drum fire in place of melee. So that if you moved beyond here to move somewhere else, then you would you could satisfy the requirement for attacking both units. But I'm probably not explaining this correctly, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, he went here. Okay, and then with his infiltration ability, he could actually slide to a different EZOC by going here. Right, so that would require him to attack both here and here. But if we use drum fire on one of these, that would remove the need for melee. Okay, so that's the example I was trying to impart there. So speaking of that, I am going to do some drum fire. I think we'll do 1 drum fire on, let's do it on, so I just use that as an example. We could do, I mean, I don't really need to do this, but I just want to kind of show the example. So because he could go, 1, 2, 3, and get right to that anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to put drum fire, I think, on this stack right here, which is artillery, I just noticed. So that would be counter battery, actually, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to do counter battery fire on this stack right here using one of our artillery. So that's 4, and in this turn it gets doubled, so it becomes an 8. Now normally you would have to worry about things like you do have to worry about line of sight. Now in terms of line of sight, let's check the distance first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's 10 away, and if you look kind of, it goes through this town here. I don't think it nicks the woods necessarily. Well, maybe it does. So that I'm going to say that is going to block line of sight. Now, I had some trouble in part 1 with line of sight. I'm not 100% convinced that I've got that right, but I'm going to check it. Okay, yeah, so basically if it goes through woods or a town, it is blocked. So that means we put a +1 on the die roll. So let's roll that. And oh, my dice tower is over here. So let me move it so I have it here. So I'm going to take my 1 die. And we got a 5. Now 5, here on our fire combat results table, right? We're doing drum fire, right? So we're using this column for the strength. Now, strength of 1 of our doubled core artillery is an 8. So we go down 8 to 5, and it's a 1. Then we add 1 for the die roll modifier, and it becomes a 6, and that's still a 1. So that inflicts 1 level of disorganization, and I believe it only, actually, let me check this to make sure that I do this right. So I'm not sure, but I assume that only 1 of these will get a D1, so I'm just going to put it on the bottom, and I will, of course, try to remember that is only affecting the bottom one there. And what that also means is that we cannot attack that one in melee. Now, it is artillery, and this is another thing I messed up. Artillery, when it defends in melee, is a firepower of 1, regardless of what the actual firepower of the unit is. I did not do that correctly in part 2 of the videos, the previous video, so the most recent video. Okay, so that's one. We're going to flip one of Buzzini's artillery there to mark it as being fired. And we'll move on to our second attack. And for this one, I'm not sure if I want to hit another. Maybe we should do some counter battery instead. So if we went straight this way, I wonder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we can't get to these two, but Cowdrey can. So we'll save that one for another moment here. I don't think we can even do counter battery right now. So maybe we'll do some interdiction instead. Let me just check some things here, because he's pretty far back. And you can move him, but that would of course be in the movement phase. And every move you make, you have to fire. You have to mark one of your artillery as being fired. We might just do barrages on them for the actual attacks. I have 2 left, so that may be the best way to do it. Or do interdiction to keep the Brits from being able to move some people up. The problem there is I'm not sure where that would be most effective. Or we should just do, let's move here and do Cowdrey. A group of Cowdrey here is going to have a little bit more of a traditional attack. They're not as strong in terms of their units. They've got a lot of reduced units. Here, they were in the center and took kind of a pounding during the British attack. So they're not in as strong a shape as these guys are over here, or as these guys are on this side. So the middle, I mean, this might be the best place to, well, let's do some counter battery. So he's here. Now, we have pretty much a straight shot line of sight to there. I don't see anything in the way going straight up there. Nothing. So I'm pretty sure this is within 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So we're going to drop counter battery on that one. So let's do that. So this is Cowdrey, and that's the top guy here. So let's flip him over. Fired. Again, it's an 8. And counter battery uses the same column here. So we're in this column right here. We want to get a 6 or less, and we don't have to take a +1 for line of sight this time. So hopefully we can roll something better than a 5, and we did. We got a 1. That's a great roll. So 8 with a 1 is 3. I'm gonna fix this issue here, because I just don't feel like this would have been a realistic deployment of the artillery to have them stacked like that. So this way it's a little bit more realistic, because they're going to get a D3 for this. So I'm just going to stick it. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was that one, that hex. But it doesn't really matter, right? They're up on a ridge. And I think that may have been why I did it. I was like, oh, a ridge is a good spot. But yeah, so Cowdrey has now taken care of that one. Let's do another one. I might use all 3 of theirs on this, because I'm not certain that these guys should attack right out of the gate. So, yeah, we're going to fire another one here. Same thing, counter battery. And we're going to fire at, I guess, he's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He is going to have a +1 for the DRM for the line of sight being blocked. And he got a 4, so that'll become a 5, and that's already, I already know that that's a 1. So we're going to put a D1 on this guy as well. For our third and final one, I think we'll hit the 20 as well, this other 20 here. So again, counter battery. That's a 2. This one has no blocking line of sight, so we don't need to adjust that And so that stays a 2, and a 2 under that column is 2. So they get a D2. Okay, so that completes Cowdrey. Now we have Aris, which is right here, and then Lavarda, which is up here. So let's do Aris. Now this one, again, I mean, the situation's not particularly great. Maybe do a rolling barrage instead of the, just so they can kind of roll right into the attack. That's probably what I should have done over here too for Busini, is have them do a rolling barrage. But let's take care of this one first. So let's target this one. Now, we do have the town here, so there's not going to be line of sight because the town will block it. And he is in woods and on a ridge. So let's have him fire one of his artillery. He has 3 as well. So it'll again be an 8, and we're going to do a drum. Do we want to do drum fire? No, let's do a rolling barrage because that will assist in their attack. So we'll do a rolling barrage, and this one is he's limbered right now, so he could not fire. This one could, though. So could these 2. Now, this is an independent artillery. You may note that it does not have a divisional marker on it, like this one is 3rd Guards. These 2 are both independent, so is that one. So the Germans have some of those. But I think, just in this case, I think I'll just use my divisional on here. It's an 8. They do get, and I forgot to apply, well, I don't know if a ridge gives you anything on a bombardment. High ground. No, there's no DRM for that. So woods does give you a +1 though. So they're going to get a +1 DRM for being in the woods, plus another +1 for being in not in line of sight. So I think I will use one of these as well. That would be an 11, which would make it a 10. Yeah, that's a better, slightly better chance of doing something here. Oh, 6. So that becomes an 8, and that is nothing. And it would have been nothing on the other one as well. I'm just going to turn this guy sideways so I remember that he's fired. And we will have flip 1 Aris here. So there's no DRM from that, is what that really means. That's not like they would, I don't think, rolling barrage doesn't inflict does it inflict disorganization? I need to check. I think it's just a die roll modifier. It's what happens when you don't play for a few days. You forget everything. Rolling barrage. Yeah, it's a die roll modifier, so that's a 0. All right, so let's go back to, let's see, interdiction. Do I want to do any interdiction? Because I think I'm done with drum fire and counter battery. And we don't need to do any anti-tank because they're so far away. Interdiction would be next. Maybe we should do some interdiction. So let's plop some interdiction down, maybe somewhere in here. Maybe here. So I'm going to fire interdiction there. Is that where I said, or did I say here? Let's put it, I'm going to put it there. Now this is automatic because the way interdiction fire works is you roll a die and it has to be less than or equal to the firepower. So in this case, that would normally be a 4, but because it's doubled, it's 8. And this only has 6 sides, so it's automatically a success. So that's the second of Aris's, and we're going to fire 1 more. And we will do that one. Let's do it there. I think that's within 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So what interdiction does is it doubles the movement cost in this hex and the adjacent 6 hexes around it. So that's worth doing. So that's going to mean any of these guys here trying to move this way or this way we'll have to spend twice as much. So it's not the greatest use of it, but that's fine for now. Since I tried a rolling barrage, it didn't work. I could have tried other ones, but I can just use my divisional artillery for that too. It's no big deal because they also get doubled. Okay, now we have to finish up Gruppa Buzzini over here, and we're going to use theirs. They have 2 left, and so Levard has 1, and Levard is here, and I'm not sure we'll really do a whole lot with them. Maybe I should just use that for interdiction as well. So if they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's put an interdiction there too. And flip that over. Okay, now we're going to do 2 rolling barrages to help our attack go in here. So let's use one here. So we'll do this one first, and we're going to send these 2 in there. And you can actually use the firepower value of the Stoßtruppen to add to it. They give a barrage bonus, much like the tanks did, and basically because they carried things like trench mortars and flamethrowers and things like that. They weren't regular infantry, so that would make this a 5, which would get doubled to 10. So it's 10 to 3. They are in a secondary trench. So they get a +1, I think. Secondary trench, yes, a +1. And do we have line of sight? Probably not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, we do have line of sight if you go up the spine here and then slightly over. I think that I'm going to say that line of sight is actually good. We're going to get a +1 on this one. So I'll roll. We got a 3. So 3 + 1 is 4. We were in the 10 column. Wow, 10 column's pretty good on a rolling barrage. It's all the way over here. So we got a 4, which is 3. So that gives +3 DRM for their defensive fire. So let's roll that now. So their firepower's a 3. They're getting through. They're getting a +3 on the die roll modifier here. So that's gonna not be a great one. So defensive fire 3. They rolled a 2, and a +3 becomes a 5. So 5 is 1. So that's a +1 DRM now on the melee roll. So here in this turn, and only this turn, they get a 2 column shift to the right, the Germans, in their attack during the melee phase, and they get a 1 column shift to the right during the hasty attack, hasty combat phase, rather. So it's 4 to 3. We do get a +1 DRM. So that would be 1 to 1 with a +1, and then we get a 2 column shift to the right, so that makes it a 2 to 1. So here is our melee table. So we start here, and we go 2 columns to the right, and then we're going to get a +1 on this die roll. And we got a 1. So 2 to 1, 1 is a 0-2. So 0-2 means they lose 2 steps, and they're in a secondary hex. So what you can do in this game, and if you didn't watch part 1, if you did watch, you'd already know this, but basically you have retreat points in a main trench, which are the thicker ones. But when these are German trenches, so the British that are in there, they get treated as a secondary trench. It's been captured, basically. But like this British unit here, he's in his own trench. That would be 2 RPs, meaning you could drop 2 step losses but have to retreat 2 hexes. In this case, he could take the 1 RP and retreat 1, but he still has a 2nd step loss to take, so he's going to be eliminated. So he's eliminated, and these guys can move into this hex. And that is basically how that works. Now we'll do some more. This time we will take, well, they have to cross the bridge. And I think, I don't remember how I did this one. But basically he would have to go 1, and then across the bridge and into that town would be a total of 3. If I remember correctly from our TEC here, crossing the bridge costs a +1. Bridge hex side, movement points. Oh, none. Okay. All the bridges in this scenario are intact and cannot be destroyed. So let's see. Get nothing for that, but moving into the city. Is that a city or a town? That's a town, I think. Is it capitals? Oh, it is capitals. That's a city. Okay, so when you move into a city, that's 2 movement points. So they still have enough, because that would be 1, and then 2 more is 3, and he's got a 6. Now we're going to send one of the Stoßtruppen with him, and he'll do the same thing. Go there and there. We'll get the same thing. He's going to add, and I needed to flip one of these. So Busini has 1 left. We're going to use it right now to try and make a crack here through there. Oh, wait. That is not what we wanted to do. We wanted to go here. Because we can't attack them, we use drum fire on them. And he can't do that because that's going from one Ezok to another. So let's put this one back, because he can't do that. Or what we will do is we will move him. Well, can we do that though? Because they can't attack. So I guess we can't. So let's leave him there for the moment, because we could also go up this way and attack that guy. Which is 7th Corps, which we didn't do anything with in the first 2 parts. But this guy can move, if we send this one across, he can join in with that attack. Yep, they can do that. And let's send this guy over here, because he can't. Oh, wait. They could have done it the way I had it, because the artillery doesn't exert a zone of control. So he can go here and then here, and this guy can follow him across the bridge, and they can attack there. And that leaves me open to move this guy here with one of the Stoßtruppen to attack this guy, and then we can maybe clear this whole ridge. All right, now it's right. So we're going to again have a 10 for our rolling barrage. So let's do that. And we got a 6, which is bad. And we do get a +1. So that's going to be a 7. And in the 10 column, that's actually a 1. So they get a +1 on their defensive fire. So theirs is 5 plus, and they'll get a +1. So they rolled a 3. Their fire, they are a 5. So 3 is that, but they get a +1. It's 2. So now we have a 2 on our melee attack. And again, we get 2 column shifts, but right now it is a 4 to 5. So that is a 1 to 1.5. 2 column shifts over will be 1.5 to 1. Whoops, that is not what I meant to do. Flew out of my hand. So let me do it through the tower. So it's a 3, and we get a +2. So that becomes a 5, which is a 1-2. So they lose 2, or they can retreat. So in this case, I think their best move would be to retreat. So he can go here, and maybe he'll go up here to help protect that one, which is a disorganized 3. And I've been forgetting, I did this in turn 1. I'm forgetting to use the defensive fire from these guys. So let's change this up. He's a D2, so that would have been a 2, which would have made them in the 6 column, and the result would still be 2. So it didn't change anything. Up here, I don't know. Wait a minute. Oh, that's right. They eliminated their guy. And they could have... Yeah, because that is 12th Division. So, and they only have a D1. That would have been a 3, 8. Hang on. Let me refigure this here. So they rolled a 3. The firepower was going to be 1. So they have 4. They would have 5, 8, 10. 10 to 4 would be 1 to 2. So that would have changed it to a 1 to 1. We rolled a 3 with a +2, which probably wouldn't have been a +2, but I can't go back too far. That becomes a 5, which becomes 1, 1. All right, so they would still retreat. And they can retreat there. And then these guys would lose 1 step from the infantry, because infantry's still first. Second one is always the Stoßtruppen, though. So they did take a loss, but they also took the hex. So now this guy is going to move here. And this guy will move as well there. And we're going to do our barrage. So that's 4 plus 4 is, again, 8. It's 8. Yeah, 1. Oh, it's 5 times 2 is 10. It's not 4. That's for the melee. This is how I get myself confused and mess stuff up. So it is an 8. Again, we're going to roll it. We got a 2. So 2 rolling barrage 8 is going to be 3. So they get a 3 on their defensive fire. So their defensive fire is going to be 5 plus 2, 1. Okay, so I still screwed that up because you can only use 1 artillery unit per combat. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. They'll take their 1 step loss and be happy, whatever. But this time, okay, we've got a 5. Where did I put that die? Oh, there it is. We've got a 5, and they can use 1. So I think we used this one and that one, maybe. That's the 20th. So let's just say he's going to use that one and get 3. So that would be 8. So he's an 8, and he gets a +1, right? I've already forgotten, but I think it's a +1. They had an 8. You know what? I'm going to start over because I've got myself totally confused. So they had 1 and 4. That's 5. So it's a 10. We rolled in the 10 column. We roll it again. This time it's a 1. So this is actually going to benefit them. So they get a +4. So it's a +4, and they have a defensive firepower of 3 and 5 is 8. So 8 plus 4, they rolled a 1, so it becomes a 5. That is going to be 2. So we get a 2 on our melee. And again, it's 4 attacking 5, so that becomes a 1 to 1.5. With 2 column shifts, you get a 1.5 to 1. And they got a 3, and we add 2. No, we had 1, right? I think it was just 1. So that becomes a 4. And that's actually great for them and bad for the Germans because that is a 2 to 1. So by the rules, this one is going to be eliminated. And this one is going to go down to a 1. Because these guys don't have a reduced side. So they take 1 step loss, they are out of there. So German unit destroyed. This is a British unit. Needs to go over there. All right. So that combat failed. And that's more World War I like. Because I messed up so much in the first part, I always felt like, man, this is like too easy. They shouldn't be able to move this quickly. And that was why, because I was messing it up. So we have 1 more Stoßtruppe we can use. Now, I also forgot about the attack across open ground as well. So all of these would have that. So this one would have it. This one would have it. And this one would have it. So they have to deal with that in the next... Where did this freaking ant come from? There's an ant crawling around here or something. It actually flew away, so I guess it wasn't an ant. But anyway, I think I'm going to stop here only because it's gotten kind of long, and I really just wanted to show how the Stoßtruppen work, and they work kind of similarly to the tanks, but not exactly the same. So let me just read you what Stoßtruppen can do from the rule book. So the rule book says the German player has Stoßtruppen, or Stormtroop units. They take the form of assault, flamethrower, mortar, and machine gun troops. They have no divisional affiliation, which is important because when you are doing melee combat or hasty combat, either one, you can't mix units from different divisions. They have no divisional affiliation and may add their strength to any attack. They defend normally. They do not exert a zone of control, and they don't contest an EZOC for movement purposes. Now, Stoßtruppen companies may use infiltration tactics at any point in the game, allowing them to attack across the open and directly from one enemy zone of control to another. They have the additional benefit of using their combat strength in both barrage and melee. But the barrage strength is only used if they participate in the melee as well. Stoßtruppen may conduct rolling or standing barrages in either coordinated and hasty combat phases. This barrage fire is combined with any artillery attacking the Hex in the coordinated combat phase. In the hasty combat phase, only Stoßtruppen may barrage, they defend normally. When involved in an attack, a Stoßtruppen company provides a column shift to the melee combat odds. Max one column shift. So if you had two companies, you still get the one column shift. And again, in the first turn, the counterattack turn, you have a special rule where it actually becomes two. But that's just for the coordinated combat phase of the German counterattack turn. So, and when involved in an attack, the second loss affecting the attacker must be taken by a Stoßtruppen company, which is why instead of eliminating this guy, I had to eliminate the Stoßtrooper. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I was hoping it wouldn't take as long as it did, but I kind of, diddled around a little bit too much with the artillery stuff. I hope you got an idea of how the Stoßtruppen work. I probably messed something up because that seems to be the way I'm rolling with this game in general. I'm sure Carrie Anderson will let me know if I did in fact mess something up. But as a kind of a final word for now, and I may yet do a review of the game, I'm really impressed with this game. It is difficult, I think, to really capture World War I combat in a way that doesn't feel frustrating. And I think this system really does it well, because in Ypres you had a more early war. The trenches weren't really, in effect so much yet. Like the entrenchments were shallower, and there really wasn't this massive trench system at that point in the war, which made it, I think, and I think Carrie Anderson mentions this in his designer notes, that it made it a good candidate for a game. And the same with this, because of the tanks and the Stoßtruppen made both sides have the ability to crack through the trench line. So that made a little bit more a war of maneuver on a limited scale, of course. But and just the mechanics, the way combat works, I really like the flow of it. You have your artillery, your barrage, you roll that into your defensive fire, and then you roll that into your melee, and it all just boom, 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 die roll modifiers, one single D6. It's simple, and it's elegant. There's really no other way to put it, I think, in my opinion. So I do recommend this game highly. I've been enjoying this so much that I was like, oh, I should, do more of the first game, but I don't know how that would be received by you guys, so I can always just play off camera anytime I want. But yeah, I do recommend this game and its predecessor as well. They're two different different eras of the war, but both have the opportunity for you to move some counters around and not get bogged down in no man's land and trench warfare and all the stuff that's always made World War One not get the kind of attention in wargaming that certainly World War II gets. I mean, for obvious reasons, I think. But yeah, kudos to Carrie Anderson for putting together this system, and I really hope we see more. I mean, there's other things that could be done. Eastern Front, for one thing, there was some maneuvering going on out there, at least early in the war. So maybe some Russians, some Austro-Hungarians, the Serbs. There's plenty of other action that could be covered, and there's plenty more from the Western Front as well. So I hope the series continues. That's why I'm recommending this game, because if the game does well, then Revolution will publish more, and we will get more World War One, quality World War One wargaming. So that is it. This game definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me. Big recommendation. So if you are looking for a good World War One game, this is it. So that is it for now. I thank you for watching and appreciate it. While you're here, please consider liking, sharing, hyping, perhaps becoming a channel subscriber. All of that would be awesome and greatly appreciated. And if you have any comments, questions, corrections, so on, please feel free to post them in the comment section, and I read them all, and I will get back. I try to get back to all of them, and I've been pretty good. I think for the past 2 years, I have not missed replying to a comment. Quick shout out to my channel members. We have 2 tiers, Hexed and Countered. If you're interested in finding out how that all works and how you can support the channel, you can click the join button. It doesn't actually sign you up. What it does is it'll give you the opportunity to find out what it's about, and then you'd have the opportunity to sign up. So again, thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll come back and check out something else, regardless of anything else you might do here with this particular video. But yeah, until next time, I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And as always, happy gaming.